Hello folks, this is Mike, PC31 the Runner Policeman, and this is a video for my July pickups, and I've got about 11 I think it is to show you, so I'll whiz through those pretty quickly. So the first one I'm going to show you has got a Clash connection. So there was a New York, still alive, New York graffiti artist called Futura 2000, and he met the Clash when the Clash did their 17-night Bonds Casino residency in New York in May-June 1981. He met them for the first time then, and they got on really well with him, and they during the Radio Clash tour, which was the back end of 81, so October, November-ish I think, they Futura joined them on stage, and he was actually spraying graffiti on a screen at the back of the stage while the Clash performed, and they did 5 or 6 nights at the Lyceum in London, and over those gigs every night he came out and he sprayed this kind of backdrop that actually I saw recently through Google that was up for sale at Sotheby's or Bonhams after the event, for about £20,000, something like that. It's an enormous sum. Interestingly enough, I know someone who went to one of those gigs, and he said the overwhelming thing that night in the Lyceum was the Clash were fantastic, but he said was the smell of the spray paint emanating from the stage. Anyway, they made a 12-inch with him. So the Clash, as you can see there, Mick Jones composed the song, but the Clash, music composed and performed by the Clash, but Mick Jones is credited with it. So, and what happened during those Lyceum dates and others as well, Futura 2000 would come on, and he would actually join them and sing this kind of rap song all about graffiti artists and spraying, etc., and social things. But so this is the 12-inch. So Futura 2000 and his escapades. So it's very it's good. It's quite big audio Dynamite-ish, as Mick Jones wrote it, as you can imagine. Next one up, I've picked up during the month a couple of Siouxsies, and the first one is from 1984, Siouxsie and the Banshees' 6th album, Hyena, and this is the only album I think was Siouxsie which had Robert Smith on guitar for the whole album in the studio, and this is the one with Swimming Horses, Dazzle as a lead-off track. This is other than Robert Smith, I guess this is the classic Banshees lineup of Budgie on drums and Steve Severin on bass, obviously Siouxsie on lead vocals. But not a bad album. Material average for me. I mean, it's no Juju, Kaleidoscope or Scream by any stretch of the imagination, but it's a decent album. There we are. Now, the other one I picked up at the same time during the month was Peep Show. And Peep Show for me, I mean, this one, Hyena, was 1984. Peep Show is 1988, and it's Siouxsie's 9th album. For me, this is much stronger material. I really like this album. This is pretty instant. I think this is a strong album. It's still no Juju, but it's a very good album with some strong material on it. Peekaboo, Killing Jar, Last Beat of My Heart were the singles from this. The back cover, front cover, still Budgie, still Steve Severin, but Robert Smith obviously not on this one. And this is John Klein on guitar, and Martin McGarrick on keyboards and cello and accordion, various things. There's lots of textures on this album, and as I say, I think the material is just a lot stronger. And the next thing I picked up was kind of a mini grail in many respects. I absolutely love the post-punk band Magazine with Howard DeVito, John McKeown, absolutely fantastic. I've got all their albums, which was only 4 albums when they released them. They actually came back together again in the 2000s and released another one. But the 4 main albums were obviously during the heady days of post-punk. But this is a comp, which I hadn't even seen before, I was aware of, called After the Fact. And this came out after the band had disbanded in 1981, and it's basically got all the singles and what they consider to be the highlights from those first 4 albums. Out on Virgin, and the tracks on this, really fantastic album. So Shot by Both Sides, Rhythm of Cruelty, You Never Knew Me, The Poison, Back to Nature, Song from Under the Floorboards, The Light Pours Out of Me, Motorcade, About the Weather, Feed the Enemy. Absolutely fantastic comp. 1981, as I say, singles and highlights on those first 4 albums. Because the magazine was together from 78 through to 81, and could be argued, well, certainly one of the very, very best post-punk bands. Superb. So I'm loving this album. So pleased to get that in the collection. Now, I rarely pick up albums which have got dodgy covers that are a bit wrecked, but I made the exception with this one because it was incredibly cheap. Hadn't seen it before, and I thought, oh, I must own that one, but I never pick up albums like that. But this is Ruts DC, so this is not the original Ruts, as in The Crack and the wonderful Malcolm Owen, who sadly passed away very, very early on. But this is Ruts DC. This is the second incarnation. DC stands for Italian da capo, so back to the beginning. So it's the Ruts DC live on stage. It's a double album. All the classic tracks are on it. It's from 2016, and so you know this is not the Ruts at their absolute peak, but I thought this was really worthy of going into the collection, and it's a good live album. So one of the pieces of the vinyl is red, so one is black, one is red. Vinyl's in fantastic condition, but the cover is pretty wrecked. So there's the back cover. So that's the 2 records. So Babylon is Burning is obviously the absolute stellar track from the Ruts. Staring at the Rude Boys, Jar War, Something That I Said, In a Rut, classic. It Was Cold, one of my favourite Rut tracks. But this is Seggs on bass guitar, Dave Ruffy on drums, Lee Hegarty guitar and vocals, and Malara vocals as well. But bit tatty, but yeah, pleased to have that in the collection for what it is. Now, are you watching The Boys Down Under? Ben Rankins, Lloyd Boom, Attack Down Under, John Tootledge, The Saints. So this is a reissue. So Prehistoric Sounds, and as I say, reissue, music on vinyl, limited edition of 1,000 individually numbered copies on silver coloured vinyl, which I'll show you. 180 gram, includes insert with the lyrics. But this is the third, 1978 originally, and this came out only a few weeks ago. So this is the third Saints album, and this isn't an I'm Stranded at all. This is more soulful, bit more brass on it, but it's just definitely got more soul about it. I mean, I'm Stranded is still the classic. I mean, that's a better album, but I do enjoy this album. So you see it's in this kind of grey vinyl on Parlophone. You get the lyric sheet, and there's Ed Kepper and the Boys. He left after this album, actually. But yeah, it's a good, strong album, and very enjoyable. Haven't owned that album before, so pleased that was reissued. And another Australian offering. Now, I am a huge fan of Warren Ellis, and I love the work that Warren Ellis does with Nick Cave. I've got a dozen soundtracks, Nick Cave and Warren Ellis, and all the recent work that he's done with Nick Cave on Nick Cave projects, I absolutely love. What I've never owned and wanted to for a long time, and Ben Rankins is absolute authority on this, is a Dirty 3 album. And this is the new Dirty 3 album. Love Changes Everything, which is an awful title. Very corny. But that's the new album. This came out about a month ago, I think it was. The new album, 140 grams. Excellent. Now with the Dirty 3, so they are a threesome. So you've got Jim White on drums, you've got Mick Turner on guitar, and obviously Warren Ellis on violin and anything else he wants to play. The guy's just so talented. The thing about the Dirty 3, which I absolutely love, is the music always feels as if it's just on the edge of breaking up. There's kind of a dissonance to it. There's a beauty and a dissonance to it. It's quite soundtracky, quite ambient. There's no vocals on, I don't think, any of the Dirty 3 albums, apart from a little bit of Warren Ellis on this one. There may be some others on other albums as well. But here we go, Love Changes Everything. Pretty straightforward, black vinyl. But yeah, it's just on the edge of breaking up. You know, Warren Ellis's violin playing is just on the edge. And somehow from a guitar point of view as well, Mick Turner, when he plays alongside him, they're almost doing different things completely, but it kind of works together. Yeah, it's really good. I mean, it's fantastic, and it grows and grows the more you kind of hear it. As I say, it's quite soundtracky, quite ambient, but there is more to it than that as well. I'd love to see Dirty 3 live, and hopefully they'll be over in the UK sometimes where we can see them. I know the guys live all over the place. Do I know? Yeah, Jim White, think is in New York. No, I'm not too sure. Warren Ellis, I think, lives in Paris now, I do believe. But yeah, this is their first album for about 12 years. Excellent, really enjoy that. Right, okay. So next one to show you is the complete change of tone, actually. The wonderful Half Man, Half Biscuit. Harris Pilton, where are you? The Voltarol years. I don't know if Voltarol means the same all over the world, but Voltarol is a headache tablet, basically. And Half Man, Half Biscuit have been around for a long time now, since the punk days. But I think their first album was 85, and this came out 2022. The first album, which I've got up there, is called Back in the DHSS, and in the UK at the time, and that was a ministry, the Department of Health and Social Security, so a play on back in the USSR. And with Half Man, Half Biscuit, they're indie rock, they're post-punk, but they parody lots of lyrics. So their lyrics are absolutely hysterical. They are really good. The only criticism with this, actually, is that there isn't a page of lyrics, but they're so important, so I had to Google them, and I was looking at Google lyrics while I was actually listening to all the songs here. The previous album to this one, which I haven't got, but it kind of shows you the type of band they are, 2018, the album was called No One Cares About Your Creative Hub, So Get Your Fucking Hedge Cut. That's Half Man, Half Biscuit. Absolutely brilliant. It's a great fun album. It's got real edge to it as well. Post-punk, you know, lovely bit of Telecaster playing, but there's the boys that are around. They've been together a long, long time. They've made lots of albums now. But this is from 2022, the Voltarol years. Wonderful. Now, going back to Australia again, this is a Melbourne band which relocated, I think, to London, but they've made about 9 studio albums, and this is their first live album, double album, Dead Can Dance. And this is a band which I know Mike over in Phoenix, play vinyl in the Milky Night, absolutely loves this band. They're a 4AD band, as I say, originated from Melbourne, 9 studio albums. They've made a couple of live albums, but this is the first one. Think about this live album as well, which is called Toward the Within, Dead Can Dance. They're a duo, Lisa Gerrard and Brendan Perry. 15 tracks on this album, and I think only 4 were on previous albums. So from this live show, which was from the Mayfair in Santa Monica, 1993. This was released 94, but the show was 93. So superb. So this is so classy, as all their work is. They're recognised as a neoclassical, dark wave, ambient, world music, goth rock. There's a very Egyptian, Middle Eastern type feel to this, but it's an absolutely beautiful album. It's just stunning music. Double album, as I say, 4 AD, Dead Can Dance. Class, pure class, beautiful album, wonderful. Okay, next one is a 12-inch, and it's one of my favourite goth tracks, even post-punk tracks, and it's the debut single. It's 12-inch, but it's the debut single 1979 from Bauhaus, Bela Lugosi's Dead. This is such a wonderful track. This is, as I say, it's a 12-inch, so this is 9 minutes 36 seconds, and this is such a great track. It really is. And Bauhaus, who obviously then turned into they've different incarnations, Tones on Towel and Love and Rockets, several incarnations for them. But this track, I was so pleased to get this on 12-inch because it's such an atmospheric track. Superb. So it's on the original label. So this is not a repress of that. So Small Wonder Records. Hopefully you can see that. Small Wonder Records. Great gothic cover art. Look at that. Bela Lugosi's Dead. Just absolutely wonderful. Daniel Ash, Peter Murphy, Kevin Haskins and David J. Really pleased to find that during the month, and I've played that an awful lot. Okay, and the next one is, in fact, it is a comp from Tones on Towel, so that really relates to the last one. This is a 1985 comp. This album actually spout the ends of Tones on Towel actually, and it includes the first 3 singles. It's interesting because Burning Skies, this is the 12-inch mix on this, and instrumentally it's a shorter mix. So although it's the first 3 singles, they are kind of different mixes have been used. Early 85 comp. This is to say this is about the end of Tones on Towel, and the members, 3 of the 4 members of Bauhaus, and so much fell out this as well, then went on very quickly to form Love and Rockets. Okay, that one. And the final one to show you today, folks, is started with the Clash connection, ending with the Cass connection. Big Audio Dynamite 2, Mick Jones's second incarnation of Big Audio Dynamite, because all the original bad had gone by this time, and it was just him with a new lineup completely. So On the Road Live 92, it's an EP, it's their second live album, made about 9 studio albums in total. It's not a great recording actually, 5 tracks I think there are on it. It's very jammy. It's okay, but it doesn't feel as if too much has gone into it. I'd say the production's not that great, but yeah, it's Big Audio Dynamite. It's Mick Jones. There we have it. Okay, folks, so that was my pickups in July, and I'll speak to you again soon.